Hello, everybody. I know it's been quite a while since I've posted anything, and this one's going to feel pretty out of place for this channel. To be completely honest with you, I really don't do many unscripted videos, at least not since I was 12. So it's been a little while. You'll have to kind of bear with me with the flow of things here, but I have some important news to share. I don't know if you can tell or not, but I have officially received my private pilot license, which is really good news. And I kind of felt that since I haven't been posting here a lot and, things have been a little less focused on the YouTube videos, I would give you guys the reason why. And that's it. I went to pilot school and I have gotten my license now, which is absolutely insane to say. But I am officially technically a pilot. Now, it is important to note, though, that while I do say I'm a private pilot, that really doesn't mean that I can go and fly people around in private jets or anything like that. I need to get a couple more things done before I can really do that or go get, 99% of jobs. I think right now I've got like aircraft salesman and banner towing or glider towing or something like that in the bag. But I wanted to go commercial, so I've got a little more work before I get there. But yeah, I thought I should share with you guys a little bit about the story and how things have been and why I've been sort of pretty much gone from this channel for months at a time now. The videos have been super spread apart, and I'm hoping I can fix that as I kind of finish up pilot school, and hopefully when I'm a commercial pilot, I can afford to, if needed, kind of hire some people to actually do the editing and the thumbnails and some of the things that maybe I don't have time for. But yeah, so when I say I'm a private pilot, what that really means is it's like a driver's license for a plane. So I can go up and fly myself around or fly friends around or rent a plane, but I really can't fly for hire yet. So the jobs are pretty minimal right now. And I've still got quite a while to go. I think wise of flight school and sort of going to commercial, I've probably got until I actually get hired a good year, maybe year and a half. And that kind of depends on, how fast I am with the rest of school and if I go and get a degree and all these other boring technical things. But I would say about a year and a half is a decent estimate for things if I'm kind of at a normal pace here. But for now, I kind of wanted to give you guys an update and share with you the story of how I got my pilot's license, because I know a lot of people don't really look into it, and it's a super cool story, so I'll try and make it really quick. But for those of you who are interested, I think it's pretty cool, and I do have some pictures and videos from inside the plane, so stick around. So the first thing you really do when deciding to be a pilot is you have to decide what kind of school you want to go to. And there are a couple different options wise of, if you want to kind of learn at your own pace, they have schools like that. Or they have schools that are more akin to your sort of UC, like 4-year college experience, where it's a little more structured and you have more time with specific classes and sort of more scheduled work, I guess, if that makes sense. So what I did when I was first starting out is I went to a small mom and pop school in San Antonio area. And I had saved up some money during high school from working a job and sort of just Christmas and birthdays, stuff like that. So I had enough to pay my own way for the first, I want to say, several months of flight school. And I kind of just did this go at your own pace type deal. So once I had signed up for a smaller school, I started taking flights. Day one, they let me take off the plane, which is absolutely insane to me. I would think that you sort of, I don't know, I just assumed you would kind of shadow them the first day or something like that. I was not expecting that. But day one, I took off and I started flying pretty much overnight. And after that, it was a matter of doing the written test. There's a knowledge side of things that you have to go through. You have to take like your classic sort of college test. There's some book work and stuff like that. And once I had passed that, I continued flying at this small school until I flew alone for the first time. And my instructor at the time took a video of a couple of my takeoffs and landings while I was solo, which is absolutely insane. So yeah, that was a super, super cool experience, absolutely crazy, and I'll really never forget it. So after your first solo, there's this tradition that people have where they cut your shirt. And the idea behind this is that back in the day when planes were set up where you had the pilot in front and the co-pilot behind them, sort of like those World War II planes, you couldn't hear each other. There wasn't like a microphone system like we have today. So the instructor would take the tails of your shirt and pull on one side or the other to tell you to turn one way or another or do something like that. And when you solo the first time, they would cut the back of your shirt because now you soloed and your instructor doesn't have to tell you which way to go. So you can see some pictures right here of my shirt getting cut, which was super, super cool. I thought that was a really sick tradition, honestly, and it just sort of made it feel more like an achievement to me. But then after my first solo, I came to this point where I could no longer afford to pay my own way in flight school, which most people I don't even think have the opportunity to start that way. So I got really lucky with things. But I had to pull out a loan, and the school that I was going to was so small that none of the big loan companies would really work with them. So I had to move schools. So from there, I had flown at this smaller school for a while, and I had passed the knowledge portion of the test. And in my mind, I was like, you know what? There are schools out there that have, 12-month, 9-month, some of them, I think there's even like 8-month programs to go from no experience to commercial airline, or rather to flight instructor. But you get a job. And in my mind, I was like, oh, this is perfect. I'm going to transfer to one of those schools and get a loan there. Cause I was already flying, relatively often by the end of things. By the time I was going on my first solo, I was flying once a day, probably 4 or 5 days of the week, which is about the schedule you can expect at one of these bigger schools. So I thought I would be good to go. But going there, the standard of things and the procedures that they had were completely different. And it was this huge adjustment for me of sort of trying to relearn a lot of the things that I had already been taught at this other school. So I ended up actually having to do my first solo again at this other school, which was also about 6 hours away from where I live. So I had made this huge choice to go to another school 6 hours away from where I lived. I actually moved out for this for a time. And I ended up having to redo the solo, which sucked at the time, but I am glad I did it. I think that, flying at this bigger airport and this sort of more, I don't really know how to say it, this sort of more big school gave me some good experience for sure. And then once I had soloed there, I went through the rest of my training with them, and I ended up going on several solo cross countries, which is a solo cross country is you're taking off at one airport, landing in another, and then coming back. And one of them is over 100 miles away. I actually flew from Texas to Oklahoma in one of them alone, which that is just such a cool experience. And it's really scary the first time you do it, honestly. I mean, I felt like I wasn't prepared the first time I left. I was really scared that, I would mess something up, and it is unlike anything else you will ever do. If you go to flight school, or if you're thinking about it, that first solo cross country that to me is when you sort of become a pilot. there's still a practical test that you have to take and the written, but the first cross country solo is so much harder mentally, I think, than pretty much anything else. Maybe the practical beats it, maybe just because I was so nervous for me, but that cross country is it's something. But yeah, so once I finished that up, I went and took my practical test, and I actually got my license 2 days ago. I just moved back home. I'm in my old room again, and I'm actually transferring to a school out here, just because living alone is kind of pretty expensive, and it just didn't seem worth it. But yeah, so that's where I've been. That's the story of how I got my private pilot license. Super cool, crazy experience. I can't wait to keep going for the other ratings. They call it like ratings, but I have to sort of get privileges to fly through clouds and fly like these big multi-engine massive planes and a whole bunch of other things. But I'm really excited to keep going. And yeah, I thought you guys sort of deserved an update as to where I've been, because I mean, the videos have been pretty sparse and they will probably continue that way, to be completely honest with you, until I sort of get a little bit more time on my hands. But yeah, I mean, thought I should sort of let you guys know. I don't have any intention of quitting YouTube. In fact, if I can, I would like to make the videos more often. But flight school, man, it does take quite a bit of time and dedication, and there is a lot more studying than I think you would expect. I mean, we have these thick textbooks, and it is pretty intense. But anyways, I guess that's it. I am working on another iceberg project. I'm gonna do like a creepy public access iceberg. So I'm gonna discuss sort of some of the really weird TV shows from the like 70s, 80s, and 90s. So I'm working on that right now. It's a long one. It'll be out as soon as I can get it out. I promise I still have, the normal content coming. But yeah, anyways, I guess that's it. And take it easy, guys.